from the Stitch Room. Here's my little finish up video for Tour de Fleece. So I added up all of my totals. I'm going to give you those first before the rest of what I have to get done today. So I did a lot of math. So the total hours spun for Tour de Fleece was 55 hours and 5 minutes. It was like 11 to 12 hours a week, except for week 2 I did 19 hours because I was dog sitting one of those days and I was just like alone in a house with a dog all day. And I ended up spinning like 6 or 7 hours that day. It was a lot. So total weight spun. I added it up on here. I wrote down the weight of each individual skein and then added it all up. And this doesn't include the 2 unfinished spindle projects because I have no way of weighing those without the spindle, but it's everything else. So 9 pounds, 5.2 ounces. 4 pounds and 4.3 ounces of that is Poppy's fleece. So most of it is, well, not most of it, about half is Poppy's fleece, which is great because I have a huge project in mind for Poppy's fleece and I'm glad it's done because I need to actually start weaving that. So I actually have all of Poppy's fleece in here. There was a small amount of her fleece left that I haven't spun yet, and that's because it had a lot more VM in it and was just a little bit more tangly and I couldn't spin it without combing it, and I didn't feel like combing it at the time, so I'm gonna comb that part out. But it's like maybe 6 ounces, like it's not a lot. The rest of the skeins I need, well, all of it, including Poppy's fleece, I still need to wash, except for I did the Cheviot sock already. I washed that one. Unfortunately, I have a very limited amount of drying space, so I can only do like 2 or 3 of these at a time, most likely. So it's going to be like a long process to get them all washed and dried. That is not what I'm here to do today, though. What I wanted to do was just reset my studio. So since I was spinning Poppy's fleece without carding it first, it still had a lot of VM and dust and dirt in it. And my studio is a disaster. And that happens every time I have to do any sort of challenge that lasts longer than a week. Like when I did the weaving one, yarn as you're weaving produces a lot of dust, so that got everywhere. This one, there's vegetable matter and dirt everywhere. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to set up a little table and we're going to do some maintenance on my spinning wheels because they've been through a lot and they need a break. And then after that, off camera, I'm just going to sweep and mop the studio and dust all the shelves and just kind of reset the space now that the challenge is finally over. Personally, I think that's really important to both reset the space and then take a break from that particular hobby after a long challenge. So like after Woven November, I clean everything and wipe down the looms, and then I don't weave for at least a week. After Inktober, I clean all my pens because fountain pens need to be cleaned fairly often. And then I still use fountain pens, but I don't purposely draw with them for at least a few days just to kind of reset everything. Yeah, just stuff like that. So I'm gonna go get the little fold out table. We're gonna just do some maintenance on the spinning wheels and I'll talk you through that process. So there really isn't a good way for me to set up my tripod to show you the whole wheel, but as you can see, it's covered in little bits of vegetable matter and dirt, so I need to clean that up. The first step is I have like a really hard bristled paintbrush, and I use that to dust all of the VM and dirt off, and then I use a wet wipe or a damp washcloth and just wipe everything down. Once everything's wiped down, I will re-wax the wheel with beeswax, because I think it's important to do that relatively often. And then after that, she'll be set aside and I'll work on the other one. Like I said, I do apologize for the state of my studio right now. I definitely neglected cleaning and tidying during Tour de Fleece, and as soon as I'm done with the wheels, I'm going to be sweeping, mopping, and putting things away because there's just stuff everywhere. But for now, I'm going to just set up the tripod on my desk, and it's not going to be a great view, but it's something, and put this in time lapse while I clean the wheels. videos are all ready. I've already gone through and swept and mopped. I just have to finish finding, you know, places for everything that didn't get put away during Tour de Fleece, which is going to be a very boring and long process, so I'm not going to bother filming that. But thank you so much for sticking with me for the whole tour. I hope you had a very productive tour as well, or if not productive, then at least had fun. It is mostly a fun thing for me. Usually after the first week and a half, I start getting really burned out on spinning, but I made it through the whole thing, so happy about that. Other than that, that's about it. You'll probably see more spinning content in August because I still have to spin the Paradise Fibers as they come. So that'll probably be the first thing I get back into spinning after my spinning break. So again, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all again soon.